World War II, the deadliest war in human history, wasn't inevitable, but it was predictable. This war killed over 70 million people, redrew the entire world map, and turned two uneasy allies into global superpowers. This is the story of World War II, how it started, how it spread, and how it changed everything. To understand World War II, you have to go back to the end of World War I. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles punished Germany harshly. Massive war reparations, loss of land, severe military restrictions. Germany was humiliated and broke. At the same time, the world was hit by the Great Depression. Economies collapsed, jobs disappeared, people were desperate, and desperation creates big opportunity. In Germany, a man named Adolf Hitler rose to power. He promised economic recovery, national pride, revenge. But his vision was built on hatred, especially toward Jews, whom he scapegoated for Germany's problems. Meanwhile, in the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin ruled with terror. Forced labor camps, mass executions, millions dead under his policies. In Italy, Benito Mussolini pushed fascism. In Japan, military leaders sought expansion across Asia. These were not normal governments. These were aggressive, authoritarian regimes, preparing for war. The first sparks didn't come from Europe. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria, China. In 1937, full-scale war broke out between the countries and all of Asia was at risk. Then came the moment that changed everything. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Blitzkrieg. Lightning war. Fast. Overwhelming. And not like anything the world has seen before. It was used for decisive victory. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war. Just like that, World War II had begun. The world quickly divided into two sides. The Axis powers were Germany, Italy, Japan. The Allies were Britain, France, Soviet Union, eventually United States, later. But early on, things went very badly for the Allies. Germany swept across Europe. Poland fell, France collapsed in weeks, Britain stood alone. Hitler then made a shocking move. In 1941, he invaded the Soviet Union, breaking a previous agreement with Stalin. This was one of the biggest mistakes in military history, one that had been made nearly 200 years earlier when Napoleon tried the same thing. The war between Germany and the Soviet Union was brutal beyond imagination. Battles like Stalingrad became turning points. Entire cities destroyed, hundreds of thousands dead soldiers, freezing, starving, fighting street by street. The Soviets absorbed massive losses, but they didn't break. They pushed back. While Europe burned, Japan expanded across Asia and the Pacific. Then came December 7, 1941. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. The United States had been trying to stay out of the war, but now it was in. The US became the backbone of the Allied war effort. It provided weapons, supplies, troops, industrial power. The US fought on two fronts, against Germany in Europe, against Japan in the Pacific. Battles like Midway turned the tide against Japan. D-Day in 1944 opened a second front against Germany. While the war raged, something even darker was happening. The Holocaust. Nazi Germany systematically murdered 6 million Jews, along with millions of others. This was not war. This was genocide. It revealed just how dangerous unchecked hatred and power could become. By 1945, the Axis powers were collapsing. Hitler's Germany was surrounded. Berlin fell. Hitler took his own life. In the Pacific, Japan refused to surrender. So the United States made a controversial decision. Atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrendered shortly after. World War II was over. But the end of the war didn't mean peace. Two nations emerged as dominant global powers, the United States, the Soviet Union. They had been allies, but they didn't trust each other. This tension would lead to the Cold War. After the war, the world tried to prevent another catastrophe. The United Nations was formed. War crime trials were held. Countries began rebuilding. But the lessons were clear. Economic collapse can lead to extremism. Appeasement can embolden aggressors. Hatred and propaganda can destroy societies. Global conflicts don't stay contained. World War II wasn't just a war. It was a warning about power, about leadership, and about what happens when the world waits too long to act. The question isn't just how it happened. It's whether we've learned enough to stop it from happening again. Thank you for watching Fascinating War History.